To add consideration of application 1938 to our agenda after the public hearings are closed.
Can you tell us what 1938 is?
1938 is the subject of the public hearing. It's the text amendment.
So moved.
It's on the agenda as a public hearing tonight.
Oh, but it's not.
It's not in the consideration.
Okay.
There was an error in the filing of the agenda.
So we want to.
Yeah, second.
Who made the motion?
I second.
Melissa made the motion. Kevin second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it carries. 1938 will be after public hearings. Okay, the minutes didn't get into Dropbox, so I suggest that we defer the minutes until, consideration of minutes until the next meeting. They are a long set of minutes, and it'll give us time to look at them. Okay, first order of business is a public hearing. Mr. Secretary, can you read the call?
Application 1938 of Thomas Ryan Esquire, agent Simsbury Townships LLC, petitioner for a text amendment for section 4.3.3 D.6 of the Simsbury Center Code zoning regulations to add driving school as a use.
Thank you. Is there someone here from, yes, can you tell us?
Tom Ryan.
Yes.
That's the tenant that's moving in. Bill Francis is moving out, or already has, up the road. And they have 10 or 15 driving schools in Connecticut. DMV approached them to take over these 15 driving schools. Something happened, the previous owner. So I don't know how long they've been in operation. I think about a year or two. But in any event, they want to, set up shop in the back of the center, which is a good spot for them at night. They're at night primarily, and the back part is perfect for them at night. There's, not a lot of activity in the center at night except for a couple of the restaurants and Starbucks. So that's where they'll be.
Now, is this a new driving school? Did you say you said it already?
Well, it's a new driving school for Simsbury, or this location. But the business is existing with other locations throughout Connecticut. And I think they have about 15 locations.
Sorry, you said that and I wasn't listening. Okay. Commissioners have questions?
I have a question. Parking? Are there going to be a few cars for the driving school?
What?
Are there a few cars that will be parked back there?
There will be. Parents dropping off children, primarily. That's my understanding.
For the driving school, do they have their own?
Oh, you mean like a permanent location for vehicles or something? Yeah. That's a good question. I wish I knew the answer. But I'd find out and communicate it to Mike. I really honestly don't know the answer. All right? And we don't have anyone now that permanently, the only person that parks a vehicle on our premises now is Mr. Tom Horan, his delivery van. If they have a couple vehicles, they'll be in the back. There's no one else that's in the back typically. Up front, again, Tom Horan, that's the only one I know of. So, I don't know what the regulations say about overnight parking. If there's a problem, then I'm sure we can address the issue.
Well, tonight we're not actually talking about that application. We're just talking about whether we would allow them in the town center.
Yes.
Correct. Right.
It's the use.
It would be something to consider for the change of use for them to move in. So Tom, you got to circle back with the tenant and ask them how many cars will be stored on site.
Absolutely.
And that way the commission will have an understanding.
Right.
But the site should be able to support the use long-term from a parking perspective.
Well, I mean, we don't, if I find out they're going to have 7 or 8 cars, that's going to be a problem for us. Because, again, during the course of the day, the back of the center is active.
Right.
So, if it's 1 or 2, whatever. But if it's going to be, a number of vehicles, they're going to have to find it someplace off-site to park them.
Because the other one in town does have probably 5.
Right. Seems
The
like
what?
it.
The other driving school in town, one of the other driving schools.
There is
like
another
five.
driving, yeah, I didn't even, I don't know what the situation is, whether they have vehicles on there.
Yeah, no, they do.
They do?
Yeah, they do.
Okay,
Sometimes they double park them.
right.
And,
Well,
but they also have, classroom, because you have to have a classroom night with the parents come.
Right,
And so that, that's a pretty big space, and then a lot of
Right.
people show up for that.
yeah, I'm not worried about that at night, but, I certainly would be concerned. I'm gonna ask the question, I apologize to the commission that I don't have that information.
That's okay, you don't
Yeah,
have
it's
to.
good for me to
That's not
know.
your-
No, you don't have to apologize at all.
It's not tonight's
Nope.
goal here.
Yeah.
It was
I'll-
just-
We'll find
You
out.
asked for feedback, so.
Yeah, and I'll communicate to Mike, absolutely.
Right, any other questions?
So this is broader, this is a trade school,
Right, vocation.
vocational, business school.
Well, it's strictly driving, that's the only thing
The
they're
other
offering.
ones, trade school was already in the,
Yes,
Oh, they are,
this is
okay.
just adding.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the driving school.
Anybody in the public want to speak to this application? You're the only one.
I think they're good.
Would you state your name for the record, please?
Raymond Santa. Better go to school and have their friends teach them,
You asked him.
Yeah, you
I did.
Put him on the spot.
Okay, are we ready to close the public hearing?
All right, I move to close the public hearing on 1938.
I'll second that.
Second by Joe, all in favor?
Hi.
Opposed? Carry 6-0. Okay. The next order of business is to consider the application 1938 for a text amendment, and the effective date, Mike suggests that we set that to be October 28th. So can we have a motion to approve application 1938 of the text amendment?
What, except I lost the page.
You lost the page. We'll wait a minute. Is there, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
You find it?
make it up here. I move to approve application 1938 of Thomas Ryan Esquire for a text amendment to section 4.33 D6 of the Simsbury Town zoning regulations to add driving school as a use with the change effective October 28th, 2019.
I'll second.
Second by Jackie. Any discussion?
He said Simsbury Town, it should say Simsbury Center Code, just so we're clear.
Oh,
Yes.
Simsbury Center
Yeah.
Code, yeah, zoning regs.
Okay,
But I did second it.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carry 6-0. Okay. So that will be effective the 28th
28th,
of October.
thank you.
And then you'll come back with an application, I suppose.
For what?
So you have to come back with an application?
For the change of use, yes.
I'll talk to them.
We'll talk.
We'll talk,
We'll talk.
yeah,
Okay,
whatever you need,
Talk
we'll
amongst
do
yourselves.
it.
okay.
But thank you for
You're all
raising
set.
that issue, I appreciate it.
Thank
All
you.
right. We're all set?
You're all set?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening.
Yes.
Thanks, Mike.
Next order of business, as a new business, we have an application for Hardman Signs, Simsbury, Senior Simsbury, what is it?
Is it California? Or is it, what's the CA stand for? you know?
CA Ventures, I'm not sure what the CA
Is it California or?
No, they're out of Texas, and that's
Oh.
another location.
All right.
Oh, this is the Science Fair
CA
Anthology.
Senior,
Okay.
Senior Simsbury.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
That's your name and address?
Raymond Santa, 123 Pine Knob Drive, South Windsor, Connecticut.
Okay,
And we're just proposing a monument sign, 4 foot 2 wide by 6 feet tall from grade, externally illuminated with low voltage LED fixtures. It'd be a soft white or a warm white 3000 K temperature. so it won't be bright, you know, it won't look like a white. It'll look more warm, like a traditional yellow bulb. Single-sided and yeah, pretty basic. It'll be parallel to Cooper Avenue.
Cooper Avenue is inside.
Yeah,
The
it's a private road.
development.
Yep.
And these signs conform to our regs?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
They're just one of them.
Just one?
Yeah.
Okay, it looks big.
It does.
It's a little kid next to it.
So it's gray
Yeah, sure.
and it's internally lit?
No, externally
External.
illuminated.
Okay.
So there'll be a fixture, the low voltage, 21.2 watts.
Staff have any comments?
So this was reviewed by the design review board earlier this evening, and they issued a favorable recommendation as presented. You have a report from Robin Newton that has 2 conditions on it.
Saw that.
One, just an administrative zoning permit is required, and
So
second, go ahead, check.
Size-wise is fine?
Yes,
It's less than normal,
less than what's.
less than allowed.
Mhm.
Okay.
Ready for?
Any more questions?
Yeah, sorry.
Motion?
We're slow.
Yep, I guess we're ready for a motion.
Yeah, I move to approve application 1943 of Hardman Signs, agent CA Senior Simsbury, Connecticut, property owner LLC, owner for a sign permit for anthology on the property located at 142 Cooper Avenue, Assessors Map F16, Block 154, Lot 009-3-1, Zone HS-FB with the following conditions. 1, an administrative zoning compliance review application is required, and 2, no changes can be made to size and location of sign without resubmittal to the zoning commission.
I'll second.
Second by Jackie. Any questions or comments by anybody? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 6-0. Thank you very much.
And we're good to go.
The next application is, public hearing is set on this application 1944 for the 21st, so we don't have to do anything except note that it's here, no action is needed. Application 1945, Mike noted earlier that a special exception is required by the nature of the sign that they're proposing to put in place, that it's non-conforming and they're trying to modify it, and that requires a special exception. And is that scheduled already?
Yes, that'll be at your next meeting on the 21st.
So there's no action required
No
on
action.
application 1945 at this time. Okay, general commission business. Let's start with the proposed zoning commission meeting calendar. Everybody look at that?
It's the regular.
There's a motion to accept
Yeah, I
that.
move approval of the 2020 zoning commission meeting calendar.
I'll second that.
Second by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 6-0. Okay, correspondence. Do we have correspondence?
You have the letter to the Board of Selectmen that I drafted, that the chairman edited for, dated October 7th, 2019, concerning short-term rental regulations. You want to take a moment to read that first? This was not in your, or the original version was in your packet, but then we edited it, so this is the latest and greatest version.
Do I have the latest one?
He printed it for us.
I printed it for
Was
you.
here
You
when-
should have it. If not, I have an extra copy.
There it is, okay. You got one?
I have 20,
He has 2.
3.
He has 3, okay.
Oh, sure.
I like it, and I like the idea of a working group, if they want to hear what we've been talking about in our workshops,
Yep.
for the Board of Selectmen to meet with the zoning commission, so I think that's a good idea.
You might have a joint meeting, could have a working group,
Yeah,
could be,
yep,
but it's really up to them.
yes.
Is there any point in adding in language about the idea that we're suggesting an ordinance to go along with the zoning regulation?
That's what this says.
I don't see that.
It used the word license.
Right,
Oh, an ordinance, yes.
correct. But there would need to be an ordinance saying
Right.
they need to go get a license.
Oh, it says
Would be
ordinance.
covered as a licensing ordinance,
Second.
the second paragraph.
Right here.
Oh, look at that. Thank you.
The two attachments are not attached to this document. I didn't finish editing the Robbins memo that kind of outlined our long-standing conversation, or have the latest revision from Dave on the, that we shared with the commission at the last meeting for a potential zoning regulation. But those two documents will be attached to this letter that will go to the Board of Selectmen, so that the complete picture, not just a letter from the commission saying, please look into this.
Right. They'll have an idea of
They'll have an idea of
we've
what the
Right.
work, that
constructed.
what we've done so far.
Yep.
I like it.
I changed one word.
Maybe.
I have like in there, and I would do similar to.
Where?
Sound like a valley girl.
Where does it say like?
One, two, three. The third paragraph is a zoning regulation like the attached draft. You know, similar to the attached draft, maybe. Nice.
Okay, similar to the attached draft.
Mike's it that way.
Like goes to similar
Wow.
to. I really hate adding words when you do things, right? You're supposed to take words out.
That's right.
Akin?
Edit, edit,
Edit.
edit.
Okay, can we have a motion to approve sending this?
Yeah, I move to approve the draft of the short-term rental regulation letter to the Board of Selectmen, and suggest that we, or ask that we send it to the Board of Selectmen with the two attachments,
As amended?
as amended, yes. But
As
similar
amended.
to.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any more discussion? Going, gone. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Passes 6-0. Okay, so we're on the road with short-term rental regulations.
Is there more?
So, regulation updates. Told some of the group, I looked at the tent size for Rosedale. It's 40 by 120.
120. Thought you said 100 a minute ago.
That's big.
Yeah, that's 4,800 square feet.
Wow.
I don't know if that's something we should set as our acceptable size. It just seems very large.
Yeah.
It's pretty large, and, it all depends on the size of the property, of course, and where they put it. If
And where
it's-
they put it even more importantly, to be honest.
You've already told them you need a minimum of 10 acres, so think of that first.
That helps.
So that helps.
But it also, if you put it closer to your neighbor, even though we're trying not to do that.
Do you want me to include in a draft some sort of setbacks then for if we were to go that size of a
I
structure?
think we should. don't we?
What is the
Yes.
setback that you currently use?
Ooh, they're greater than 200 feet from the road, and then from the closest property line of abutting parcels would be to the north, and that
But-
has to be.
Yeah, that's not the property
But
that
it's
will be
not
an
a
issue,
setback.
it will be,
That's the thing.
I'm just wondering
Yeah.
how long,
It'll
how
be-
far is
They're
it
just,
actually
they're
now?
just
I don't wanna
putting
get
in their
into-
property.
I don't wanna get into a regulation where we actually end at non-conforming with them.
yeah,
Right.
no,
I don't
the
think
other
we should
issue
start out of the
will
box
be
non-conforming.
Flemic Farm though,
Yeah.
where their tent may be closer to their abutting neighbor.
Yeah.
Because it's a field, and so, it really doesn't matter, but
Where do they put a tent?
On the other side.
on the other side of the
Of
road,
Flemic.
from the farm out in the field.
Out in the field?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pretty far from everything.
Well, no,
But
because their
he's
property
saying one
line
of their
isn't that far
neighbors
from.
is actually right
Culver.
there.
Yeah, it's Toll Meadow, which is another farm.
Yeah, because when you actually do
But-
the hayride through them, or.
Yeah.
But if we're gonna
you're
make a
actually go-
setback, we have to make sure it's not,
It-
we're making both of them not.
Do you want me to maybe, to get with Julie and see how far off the property line she was looking to put that tent?
Perfect.
And we'll use that as a starting point,
We also-
rather than
Could,
Rosedale, because Rosedale is kind of unique because they're so far from all the property lines.
We
So
also ought
should
to
we-
check with Folly Farm and
Yeah.
they have some tents like run
Yep.
run for the
Run.
run.
Should we think about differentiating setbacks based on whether the abutting property owner is a residence or a
Can you say from a
farm?
dwelling?
Yeah, from a dwelling.
You could do though, once again, what we
That's
did with
right.
McLean's and said, you know, a distance from a
I like
residential,
that.
residential structure.
Or permit bigger tents on the larger, like somebody might have 10 acres, but somebody might have 20 acres. We don't really care on 20 acres what the size is as much.
I think a setback from a dwelling is that's a good standard. If you don't mind, could you ask Flamic the size of their tent as well? Just so we can get an idea.
Yep.
How about height? Tents come in various heights,
I know.
They do.
and circus tents are higher than other tents. And since we're doing what, form-based zoning,
Right.
we need to know. How about making a suggestion along that line, Mike?
Okay. You know what I can do is, because obviously, we have information on the tent that's out there for Rosedale, and I can ask Julie what she has for the tent she's proposing to put out there. Those two, I think, are the two larger ones. I would reach out to Alice, is Allison at Folly Farm?
Allison at Folly Farm, they
And see
have a
what
big
they-
tent for rounds,
Yeah,
for the roads.
see if they're
We
using a
were-
similar
Mhm.
size tent.
Thank you.
Yeah, get the height of the Rosedale one.
That helps.
And that should be the last two items for that
Wow.
regulation.
Great.
And then our book, where we've gone through, edited, and I've asked Robin to start incorporating all the edited regs into a version. We kind of, with the commission's permission, like to, if time permits, file an application for change for next month, the next 30 days.
For November.
Yeah.
Great.
That would be good.
I think we're moving along. That's
So-
great.
I will get the agro-tourism wrapped up then for the next meeting on the 21st. We're hoping, you know, this is really, I don't want to promise this, but I'd like to have this document 90% complete in the next 2 weeks. Because really, we're just combining our edited documents into one Word document and have it ready for submittal for November, provided the commission's okay with that.
Right. If we have time to review it, that's great. You know, if we get
Yeah.
it and we can read it and see the changes, because there were a lot of changes.
Yep, and because we're gonna have to do referrals to
Planning,
the planning commission, CROG, to all the abutting communities, because this is
Great.
this is a pretty substantial application,
Yeah.
so.
Excellent.
good.
Yeah. Nice to have progress.
Okay, we are at the end.
Good job.
We didn't.
That's super short. The real meetings are really short.
Who wants
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second by Joe, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carry 6-0. We didn't beat the record.